A new cruise ship with a 3-story go-kart track, a dry drop slide, a food hall, and a robotic theater, all with the fit and finish of an upmarket premium vessel? That's the promise, so we're going to give you a tour from bottom to top and share our thoughts on Norwegian Prima. The 144,000 gross ton, 3,200 passenger Norwegian Prima is a brand new ship, in fact, a new class of ship from Norwegian Cruise Line. She introduces not only new restaurants and entertainment options, but a whole new feel to the Norwegian brand. Some guests have found her layout a bit clunky, and it can be, but it's impossible to miss how premium many of her interior spaces feel compared to other ships, both in the NCL fleet and those of some of her competitors. At the end of this video, we'll share more tours, daily vlogs, and tips, but for now, sit back, relax, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and enjoy this deck-by-deck tour of Norwegian Prima. We're going to start out on deck 6, actually 6, 7, and 8, because the Prima Theater and our second stop occupy all three of those decks. Prima Theater looks like a pretty normal theater, and it's where you'll see the big feature acts. And it is a normal theater. However, there are some extra features, like this giant light chandelier thing that goes up and down, a video wall, neat lighting effects around the house, but also, and this is the big thing, the configuration of the theater can change. Those seats that you see there, they can come back, so you can have a thrust stage like that. Or in other configurations, it can be used as a nightclub and the seats go completely away. So that's why this is the Prima Theater, but also the nightclub. Our next stop is the Primrose Atrium, deck 6 specifically of the Primrose Atrium. This is the heart of Norwegian Prima. There are a lot of spaces we're going to go through all around this area. You can look up and see that it covers decks 6, 7, and 8. It's pretty. I like the lighting. I like the lines. The stair situation can be a little confusing. We'll get more to that. One of the main features here is the Primrose Bar. There's also a stage there. You can see live musical performances. That's neat. Lots of seating, however, the way they divided the space off is a little funky, and I wish there was space up above. You could really enjoy performances from more spaces in the atrium. The Primrose Shops are nearby. This is just one of several retail spaces ranging from brand names to NCL logo merch and electronics. Around the corner there is also Cruise Next, the future cruise office for NCL, so you can book your next cruise on Norwegian Prima or any other NCL ship. Not too far from these very closed shops, I was in port at the time, is the casino, which was also closed. Now, I don't have footage inside the casino, not allowed to film in there, but it's worth noting that 1, it's very large, 2, it is non-smoking. There's a separate smoking casino. It's a room really, but it's completely closed off. So if you do want to smoke and gamble, there are opportunities in there, but the casino is great. No smell of smoke as you walk through. The Belvedere Bar is a bar that we saw a lot of meet and greets at. This was solo cruiser meets, LGBTQ meets, things like that. But it's also just a lovely place to grab a drink, especially if you're going to be enjoying one of the nearby restaurants, which we'll be showing you in just a moment. After your drink at the Belvedere Bar, head over to Cagney's Steakhouse. This is the signature steakhouse across the NCL fleet. You'll find a Cagney's on, I believe, every NCL ship, including this one. I thought the decor in here was kind of neat. A little bit retro, a little bit modern, and a neat ceiling, which is a common thread in many of the spaces on Norwegian Prima. There is an upcharge for dining in Cagney's, but there are plenty of other places you can enjoy a meal on Norwegian Prima that don't carry any upcharge, including the Commodore dining room. The complimentary dining rooms, including the Commodore, on Norwegian, all have a fixed menu. It's the same menu throughout your entire cruise. That's a somewhat new thing with Norwegian. Again, rather expansive, and there are so many places to eat on board Norwegian Prima. We didn't really find any problems with this at all. It'd be ridiculous if I showed you every elevator lobby on Norwegian Prima, but I'm going to show you this one because they're all the same. This will give you an idea. I like the lighting, the colors. They're actually kind of nice. A lot of elevators, and the doors open and close very quickly, but we still find ourselves waiting occasionally for an elevator on our busy sailing. Our next stop is Le Bistro. This is an upcharge French restaurant, also pretty common across the Norwegian fleet. Very bright in here, has a classy feel. I thought these low chandeliers were particularly neat looking. You can't hear it in this shot. They would have taken on the video if I sampled it for you, but the music in here was also pretty neat. Staying on deck 6, we'll visit the Metropolitan Lounge, and you probably will too on Norwegian Prima because you kind of have to walk through here to get to other parts of the ship, but that's not a bad thing. It's a pretty lounge and bar, a lot of seating areas on both sides of the bar. This is also where they feature live music on a little stage and a sustainable cocktail menu with items they might have otherwise discarded, like used coffee grounds or banana peels. The Humidor Cigar Lounge is located right off the Metropolitan Lounge. This is where you can go enjoy a cigar. I'm not a cigar smoker. I will say the smoke extraction system seemed to work pretty well. If you're sitting on the other side of the lounge, you're not going to notice at all. It's a very pretty space inside here, though. I kind of wish there was a non-cigar lounge that had this look. There's comfy seating, there's a television, and a very peaceful environment in there. Now, I told you I wasn't going to show you every elevator lobby, but I'm going to show you one more. That is for the Haven elevators. This nearby is a set of elevators just for Haven guests to get to various public spaces as well as Haven spaces. The Haven is the ship-in-a-ship suite area on Norwegian. Nama Sushi is right nearby those elevators and the Metropolitan Lounge, a la carte specialty restaurant for sushi. It's not a very large space. They don't take reservations. You just have to walk up, but we had no trouble getting a table one night. Right across from there, you'll find Hasuki, which is a teppanyaki specialty restaurant, popular with cruisers on just about every cruise line, I think. And this is a particularly nice looking space. I liked the decor and what they did with some of these vases. I just thought it was a pretty room, though we did not have the opportunity to dine there on our sailing. Teppanyaki restaurants tend to fill up quickly, so make sure you secure the reservation that you want as early in the cruise as you're able to. Other complimentary main dining room, and that is Hudson's. Hudson's is a beautiful space. I think Commodore is a lovely restaurant. If I'm being honest with you, I think Hudson's is so much prettier that you should just always come here as long as there's space. This is also where you'll find breakfast and lunch served. Beautiful panoramic views, higher ceilings with kind of neat fixtures. I certainly enjoyed it here. Again, the same menu that you will find at the Commodore room, the other complimentary restaurant on board. From here, let's go up one deck and go to deck number 7 to visit Improv at Sea. This is a small space for stand-up comedy. They also had karaoke, I believe, in here, maybe a couple other events, a trivia or something like that. There's flexible seating in the space, so you may see it configured differently for different events. Neat lighting, but yeah, it's a room. They do stand up there. Right across from there, though, is Sid Norman's Poorhouse. You hear I'm more excited about this one. I think this is a really cool place. Live entertainment in here, kind of a show. It's not just like random performers. There's a show about the entertainers. Well, you'll have to check it out. I enjoyed it a lot. They're really talented. It's a neat space with kind of a music / Americana theme to it. There's a bar. Always a bar. That's good. And if I'm honest, I'd like to see this space merged with the nearby Improv just so that there's more room, because the performers here are top notch, and I think it would do well if they would just push this all together. Easy for me to say and not easy for others to do, I know. In the hall between those two spaces, that's where we find Park West Art Gallery, as well as some more shops. Particularly at this area, I think there were 3 things. We had those handbags, there were a lot of watches, I recall seeing Citizen, as well as several other brands. And then an Effie store at the end of the hall. Back towards the Primrose Atrium, we get to Starbucks. Every Norwegian Cruise Line ship now has a Starbucks location. For me, I'm just happy if I can get espresso somewhere, but I know a lot of people are all about their Starbucks. Coffee, any specialty coffees here are not included with the premium beverage package, but they are included with the premium plus package. If you want any baked goods or other pastries, food items from Starbucks, that does come at an additional charge. Right behind here is also the internet desk, so if you need help with your connectivity, you can head over there at the same time, and you'll find Shorex right there as well. This area also shows off the somewhat confusing atrium staircase situation, but I still think it's pretty. Also on deck 7 in the atrium is guest services. This is where you'll go for any general questions you might have, and what I liked here is they actually had a separate desk that was just for issues with your onboard account. Staying in the Primrose Atrium, but going up 1 deck to deck 8, we have a nicer view of the atrium overall from above and some additional shops. Across from there, you have some lovely seating areas, some neat little nooks. I like this throughout the atrium. They have this, and importantly, a place that I really enjoyed, and that is Proof Whiskey Bar. They had a really interesting selection of whiskeys. They had other things as well. You could get a martini or champagne, but if you like trying different types of whiskeys, show up here. And if you have the Premium Plus beverage package, all the better, because you can get things that cost $80 a pour and it's all included. I should have taken more shots when it was actually lively, because we hung out here a lot. Let's go outside for a bit though, get some fresh air, head out to, still on deck 8, La Terraza. This is part of the deck 8 very wide promenade, wider in some spaces than others. And in this part, it's just a nice sitting area. Nice place to go, relax, enjoy the views of the ocean, or in this case, a nearby ship. You can even head to one of these little telescopes or binoculars and get views of what's further out on the water. I thought this was pretty, the way that they brought the wavy wood, just a neat combination of colors and textures. On our outdoor walk, however, we come across Ocean Walk. I think this is neat. I know it terrifies some people. There are ways to avoid it. They have this on each side of deck 8. It's a glass floor, so you can walk as you're sailing along, or in port in our case, and see the ocean down below. A less scary area for many is the concourse. And here they just had different works of art in different mediums, but I thought they were very neat. I love the way that they put the fake grass down. It made it feel as if you were taking a brief stroll through a park. Each piece of artwork, and many of the works of art indoors, also have little plaques with a QR code. And you can scan the QR code, get information about the art piece itself, how it was made, what it's made of, and information about the artist, what else they've done. You can even get to a set of PDF maps to walk all around the ship and see the different types of artwork that you can enjoy, and there are quite a few of them. It's not a Caribbean cruise if you're not laying out in the sun or going to a pool, so let's get into that. Infinity Beach is on deck 8. On both sides of the ship, you'll find an infinity pool that has really nice views over the side. I was impressed. I thought it was really neat. Can get a little crowded. There are also a lot of seating areas here. There's some big outdoor showers. There are seating areas along the pool, and that's pretty neat. You've got there are water slides. We'll get to those. They start up top that come along and exit down here. So occasionally we'll hear a little bit of screaming if you're near there, but it's fun. And they have day beds that are lovely. And the day beds have these foot pools that offer, in my opinion, fantastic color changing lights at night. I like this. We actually took a little mini nap out here in the evening, but perfectly enjoyable during the day too if you can get a spot. Indulge Food Hall, that's the sign, but we're actually going to start with Indulge Outdoor Lounge. Just past Infinity Beach, this is where you can find additional seating, including these cool swinging chair things. There's a hydration station. Never saw it open, but maybe on other sailings. It rained a lot on ours, so maybe that was why. You had these cool swinging chairs, as well as more conventional day beds and outdoor sofas. And you see on the right, there are tables and chairs, and that's because you can actually eat out here and get service as part of Indulge Food Hall. We're going to head in there in just a moment. As this area wraps around the aft of the ship, you might want to just sit, grab a drink at the Soleil Bar, and enjoy some views of the wake. Interestingly, despite the great views, well, when you're not in port, we generally had no trouble getting seating here. If we were to walk through the Soleil Bar, we would get to the Luna Bar, which is the bar inside of Indulge Food Hall. This is a complimentary dining venue, and it's a really neat concept. You've got a lot of different stations, different types of cuisine from different regions of the world, and you sit at one of these tables and you order on a tablet. We had some trouble the first day. I think there was just something weird with our table. It's generally pretty easy. You place your order, within a couple minutes, the food comes. Coco's is one exception in that you, for dessert, that's what Coco's is, for dessert, you actually have to go up there and get your dessert. There are a bunch of complimentary desserts. There are also some upcharge items, but they have some neat things, including crepes, and your standard kind of cake pie things. A lot of good options there. One thing to note, if you sit at one of the food stations, you can only order on that tablet from that station. But if you sit at one of the other tables in the middle, then you can order from anywhere. They also have, and I like Indian food, so I think this is cool, they have tandoori ovens. It's a pretty rare thing. You don't see that on ships. And the results were pretty fantastic. I loved everything we had here. It ended up being a great spot for food. Another place for complimentary dining, as well as drinks and watching sports, is the Local. This is a sports bar with food and drinks served until 3:30 a.m. So great late night spot, but you may choose to go to breakfast, lunch, or dinner during more conventional hours there as well. And we found the food was actually pretty good. It's divided into two sides. You've got this one side, which has the bar and some high top tables and other seating and the televisions. And then on the other side, you'll find the local restaurant end. The menu is the same on both sides. It's just a matter of if you're going to sit down and have a meal, you may find this to be more convenient. And they also have some TVs in here, so on our sailing, the World Cup was going on. Folks are watching on both sides. Just around the corner from there, still on deck 8, we find Los Lobos. This is a specialty upcharge Mexican restaurant, a la carte pricing. We found the quality of the food to be pretty good here, and thought it was a neat looking restaurant. I like there's like a pink wall that kind of really pops compared to the rest of the colors in the restaurant, and you can sit outdoors as well. So there's indoor outdoor seating, and this is one of the places where the outdoor seating is on that wide promenade. I think that's a really neat feature that some of these venues have on Prima and some other NCL ships. I like that a lot. The one disappointment here, I wish they had a big tequila menu. Wasn't a thing. Similar seating situation over at Onda by Scarpetta. This is a specialty Italian restaurant. There's your outdoor seating area. Indoor, I thought this was neat looking. And someone who knows more about architecture can tell me the right term for this, but the way that the ceiling had this sort of almost ribbing, I thought it was neat looking. It reminded me of being inside a whale. Well, it didn't remind me of that. I've never been inside a whale, but you can imagine. You can also enter from the other side, which is actually right next to Proof Whiskey Bar. Los Lobos and Onda by Scarpetta are both on the port side of the ship. On the starboard side of the same area is where we find some more shops, as well as the photo studio. So you've got some miscellaneous retail, but you also have a studio if you want to take pictures yourself, family, whatever the case may be. They sell camera equipment. There's also a really good selection of chargers and other electronics accessories. That may seem a little silly, but I like knowing that's there because I bring a lot of electronics, so if I lose or break a charger, I like knowing I have options there. One rather unique feature in this area is something called the Imagination Wall. That's this thing here. This is an augmented reality system. There's a camera, so what you see is actually the view on the other side of that wall, outside. Except there's not really an alien in a spaceship. So you have that element of it, but you can also play games or even have a dance-off with a virtual crew member, like Larissa is about to do there, using the camera that's on the inside. It's a neat concept. There's a lot of different things you can do. It can be a little bit awkward when it's a busy time on the ship and you have a lot of people walking by, but it is fun. Next, we're going to jump up quite a few decks to number 16, deck 16, where we have the Mandara Spa, also the Salon and Barber Shop. You can get different types of passes for the thermal pool and the other areas, as well as traditional spa services, massages, things like that. Very pretty waiting area. Wonder if I just brought a drink in there, what would happen? This is the thermal pool, the entrance to it. Didn't want to really film in there because there were people, but I just thought this waterfall wall was super neat. There is a barber shop, something that I see on a lot of ships now. Used to be just the salon, now there's a barber shop on one side, beauty salon on the other side. This area then feeds into the Pulse Fitness Center, that's the gym. And this is all the way forward, so you can work out with some fantastic views or run on a treadmill when you're out at sea and pretend like you're running at an incredible pace. Lots of cardio equipment. There are also some multi-gyms. There's a Smith machine, a couple Smith machines maybe, and a selection of free weights, though like most ships you won't find any large barbells or benches. I don't know that I left there feeling any stronger, but I did try and walk off some food. In fact, speaking of food, we're going to head into the Surfside Grill. That's the poolside grill area. It's a little bit awkward that it's located kind of in the back of the buffet area, away from the pool, but it is closer to the Vibe Beach Club, which is a space we'll talk about in a moment. So it feeds in on the other side into the buffet, which is known as the Surfside Cafe. So keep in mind you have the Surfside Cafe as well as Indulge Food Hall if you want a more casual, perhaps quick place to grab a bite. And looks like there's a decent amount of seating. It is a big ship though. However, you can use the nearby specialty restaurants as seating during certain times for the buffet. So no one seemed to have any trouble finding a place to sit after they grab some food from the buffet. Up here at the main pool, as well as the Waves Pool Bar, it is a small main pool area. Keep in mind, on deck 8 you have those two infinity pools, but the main pool deck up on top is not very big. And this Waves Pool Bar, when you're at sea, can get pretty busy. So that's definitely a consideration. There are a lot of outdoor spaces though, just not as large of a central main pool area as you might be accustomed to on some other ships. They do use this at night also. I saw dance classes up here, I saw a party. I'm showing the towel exchange just because they have these towel exchange places all over the open decks, and I like that, at least on our sailing, you didn't have to check in and out towels. I don't like when cruise lines do that. You need a towel, you get a towel. You won't need a towel unless you have an accident. Over at our next stop, Palomar, that is an upcharge seafood restaurant with outdoor seating right off that pool area, and then an indoor seating area as well. This restaurant also has its own bar, which I didn't realize until I was filming this video. Next door is Food Republic. This is an a la carte specialty restaurant where you sit at a table and order at a tablet. In that way, it's a similar concept to Indulge Food Hall, but at a cost. Now, it's a different menu and slightly more expansive. I didn't feel there was enough of a difference in quality or experience to justify this overindulge. However, we don't eat meat, so perhaps those that do would feel differently. Often when I got in the elevator and hit 17, I was heading to the observation lounge all the way forward, so above the gym. This is a lounge area that has sort of a living room feel, a lot nicer than my living room. Many nice seating areas. It was generally pretty quiet. You could play games here if you wanted. There's a full bar. And we like this space a lot. I like the overall atmosphere. In addition to those views, they also serve up food, both sweet and savory eats. On our sailing, it was usually between 3 and 5, so think late afternoon snacks, and had some pretty good stuff up here. My one complaint about this area is that the books that you might have noticed in a few of these shots, they were real, but they were like glued together as props. However, you can borrow books digitally for free from the onboard library. On the other side of this particularly well-insulated wall is the Galaxy Pavilion, and it's active in here, but I never heard it from that lounge, which was interesting. This is a space for adults and children alike. We thought it was pretty neat. They have a lot of different types of virtual reality games, motion simulators, driving simulators, racing games. Whether you come here as an individual, you'll have a good time. You can come and play certain things in a group. There's also an escape room, which I didn't check out, and that's in this area. These do cost money. It's $8 a game if you want to pay per game, or you can get a pass that gives you all access for an hour or for an entire day. They even have voyage-long passes. Staying on deck 17, but watching from 18 because we didn't have access to this area. This is Vibe Beach Club. Adults only, 18 plus, separately ticketed. You have to buy passes to Vibe Beach Club, and it's a beautiful, serene sort of pool deck. There's these infinity hot tubs, separate bar. It's really nice looking. Those passes sell out immediately, so as soon as you board the ship, head over to guest services to purchase them. On to something just for kids, the Deck 18 Kids Aqua Park. Just a splash and play area for kids of varying ages. Looks fun. It's actually pretty big. There are a bunch of loungers there, so if the adults want to stay nearby, easy enough. Also on 18, we're going to get into an area that has all the things you see on the screen there, and we're going to start off at Tea Time and the Bullseye. Sounds like a weird band name or something now that I say it out loud. Tea Time is complimentary mini golf. It's kind of neat. They had some neat semi-interactive stuff. It looked neat at night, lit up. Fun area. That's complimentary. You just need to ask for some balls, and they have the clubs on a rack there. In that same area is Bullseye. This comes at an upcharge. You rent out these little rooms, and they are outdoor, though they're covered, for you and your friends to enjoy a game of darts. I believe they accommodate up to 6 people, but there are a couple different rooms of different sizes. The Drop is one of the slides that runs along the side of the ship that you can see from quite far away. And the Drop is interesting in that the floor comes out below you. And you've probably seen this on maybe even on other ships, but this is the only one in the world, they say, that is a dry slide. So I do not have a bathing suit on there. You kind of lay on a mat of sorts so that you don't get stuck. But here's the secret. Everyone gets stuck. Right there in that clear spot, everyone gets stuck. It's pretty funny to watch. Maybe they'll adjust that. Either way, it's fun. All the slides are complimentary. It was rather interesting to be in that capsule just waiting for the floor to fall out underneath you. A quick stop at the Deck 18 Speedway Bar. I never saw anyone here, and I never saw it open. But it's got beautiful views. And it's called that because it's right next to the Prima Speedway, which is a 3-story go-kart race course. The cars are electric, but very fast, up to 30 miles an hour, which when you're in a little thing, low to the ground, feels quite fast. In fact, you can race other guests or just try and beat your own time. It's all tracked electronically. Check the schedule. There are different options. It's $15 a ride, though I think there's some packages that you can purchase. Complimentary, though, is this observation area where you can kind of laser tag cars and slow them down. Also on 18 is the Rush. These are two slides. They're also dry slides. They wrap around each other. I think the drop is on the port side. The Rush is on starboard. And then there is one water slide, and that is the Wave. It's not very tall or long, but has those kind of neat features you see where you slide up and then down. I didn't do this. I wish I would have. There's also a sun deck here, which is pretty handy, as I don't suspect it ever gets really crowded if you want a place to hang out there. Also neat, this is a tube water slide, but the tubes are brought up for you. There were a few parts of the ship that we weren't able to share with you, such as the kids and teens areas, the solo cruisers lounge, and the Haven restaurant and lounges. So you'll have to check out Norwegian Prima for yourself to get a glimpse there, and our friends and partners at Touring Plans Travel can help you do just that. They manage all of our travel, and they can help you travel smarter as well. Now on board, you'll need a place to stay, and Prima has the largest standard rooms of any ship we've seen, so check out the videos right here for a tour. We've also got a series of 7 videos documenting how we spent each day of our Western Caribbean cruise on this innovative ship. Check the description below for more cruise content. Please like and subscribe, and of course ring the bell, and we look forward to talking ship with you again real soon.